How's it going there, guys? Welcome back to another video. I've decided to title this video Astral Hospitals or Astral Recovery Centers, one of those two. And in this video, I want to describe to you my own experiences with astral hospitals, recovery centers, emotional rehab centers, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of different labels for describing these astral recovery centers. I'm going to talk about a cool experience I had in a astral hospital in just a couple minutes. But I first just want to express something from many experiences. I mean, my own experiences. I want to kind of like describe what it is, or at least attempt to describe, the observational aspects of what we call these astral recovery centers. So, first thing I want to say is that I do believe that there are these astral hospitals on a few different planes within the astral structure. It's not on one plane. And I also believe that depending on which plane the recovery center is in, it facilitates different types of needs to recently deceased human beings. Human beings, for the most part, I'd imagine, from what I've noticed, these consciousnesses had a lot of trauma, pain, anguish, addictions, all kinds of stuff going on in their previous life experience. Now, that life experience, in my opinion, isn't all just from the earth reality. No, there's many, many realities out there. So these beings that are in these hospital rooms are coming from all sorts of places. And like I said, I think that there's multiple types of astral recovery centers. I have never seen like doctors in these places. So even though it looks like a hospital setting, 100% looks like a hospital setting. When you go in through the entry doors, it's just like walking into the ER or walking into a hospital. Very similar. And so I've never seen doctors, like surgeons, stuff like that. The only type of astral beings that I've seen are essentially like nurses, beings that are acting like nurses, certain types of caretakers, and also spiritual guidance. So like spiritual advising, spiritual guidance, just nurses, stuff like that. No doctors, no surgeries here. It's almost just like a rest area. Again, I do believe that they're on different planes of the astral structure, and I do believe that each of the different hospitals facilitate different types of needs. Like one might be just for addiction, and you died from your addictions. I mean, it's just a really bad life experience, right? So also what I want to say is that I believe that, again, this is just my opinions, this is what I believe from my experiences, I believe that most of the astral hospitals are also connected to the reincarnation loop. So most of the people, once they've gotten to a certain degree of feeling better about their own consciousness, and they've kind of healed up, I think most of the people in these recovery centers are definitely just then they're prime, they're ready to go into the reincarnation loop and do another life experience. Of course, the way that all happens is case by case. It's not the same exact process for every single consciousness. Like I've mentioned before, from what I've seen, it's people on YouTube, they follow these channels and the channel is just talking about like one way. This is how it works. There's no other options. And then they have that group consciousness, and they get sucked into that belief structure when it's not true at all. What's true is there's a plethora of things going on, and it all is different for everybody. Just how this human experience can vary and fluctuate so much just within this experience compared to other people's experiences. So the after-death process, reincarnational processes, all of these types of things, they vary in certain degrees depending on the person. So I had this interesting experience. What I want to share here is this is when not the first time, but maybe like one of the first few times I noticed a silver cord. Okay, people talk about how, oh, it doesn't exist. Other people say it does exist. It's hard to see, and it's etheric energy. You know, it links you to your physical body, and then that silver cord essentially is using etheric energy that then that's connected to your astral bodies. Okay, and it's hard to see for me. It's in the back of my head. So it's really hard to notice. Sometimes if it's on the front of your body, that's a whole different story. But you have to look for it. So it is real. I think people who think it's not real are people who just haven't seen it. So try to see it, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So with this story, so I digressed. See, I keep doing that, guys. I'm so sorry. But it's connected to the story, though, with Astral Hospital. So in this particular OBE, I walked in from a sidewalk, and I went in through the front doors of a facility. I could see people in different rooms, small little rooms, definitely in recovery. That's what it looked like. It's resting, you know, and guidance and counseling. Counselors, too. So like spiritual counselors or spiritual guides and stuff like that with the nurses. But these astral beings, these nurses, from what I've observed, are definitely really there. There's some people who have said that the astral recovery centers, hospitals, that all the nurses there are just holographic, and they're not really real. They don't have like real actual self-awareness, no real actual consciousness. It's just part of some kind of AI program. But from what I've noticed is these nurses are as real as they can be. They have their own awareness. They communicate. Looks like they've been assigned to a certain duty, a certain job to do, or they somehow stumbled into that, or they signed up for it. I don't know. But this is how I really know that the nurses in these astral hospitals are really there. They're real astral beings. So I go in and I'm looking in a room, right, during an OBE, and I see a 30-year-old gentleman, kind of reclined in his bed in that room, and there's all these monitors, like screens, and he's watching not his whole life review, but he's watching just all of the stuff from what I remember. It was just stuff that was connected to his addictions. If it was drugs, you know, sex, whatever it was. And he was like analyzing it really thoroughly, you know, and you could see a guide, like a counselor in there, kind of pointing stuff out. And so I'm just there just for that couple seconds observing this in the OBE. And then out of nowhere from the hallway, a astral nurse who works in those facilities pushed me out of the doorway and pushed me into the lobby and then said, "You have to leave. You're not allowed to be in here." And I said, "Why? Why can't I be in here?" And she said, "Because you still have an attachment." And I'm like, an attachment? I'm looking at this astral nurse, female, and saying, what do you mean an attachment? And she said, why don't you go outside on the sidewalk and look at the back of your body in the glass outside. You know, the glass is like mirrored, you know, reflection. And I'm like, so in that moment, and I'm kind of tripping out on this out of body experience, you know, And so I just go and I leave her. I leave the facility. I go into the sidewalk area. As I get near all the panels of windows, and they're super reflective, like mirrors. Just as I start to look, kind of a rough and tough kind of dude, Astral being a guy in his 30s also, just kind of bumps into my shoulder on the sidewalk and says, "Look out where you're going." And I'm like, "I'm just walking here. You're the one that bumped into me." So this place kind of was like a little rough and tough. Like, it wasn't really, you know, the best of places, best types of consciousness in this particular reality construct, right? And then he walks away, maybe 10, 20 feet down the sidewalk. He turns around and says, "Don't forget, look in the mirror." And then I'm like, "That's right. I want to look in those glass, in the windows, to see the mirror reflection." And I remember looking over at it again. And that's right when my my OB was ending, and I can feel how I was being pulled back to sink in, reintegrate 100% back into the human body. Remember, like I said before, I don't want to repeat myself, but when you're going out of body, all of your soul and consciousness is not leaving. There's still a percentage of it in your body through your etheric body. Okay? I know I've said that before, but I like to repeat myself sometimes. Sorry. So as I'm looking in that mirror reflection, I see a silvery, light gray stream of what you would consider like etheric energy just coming from the back of my head, going like that, just like a long stream, never ending. I mean, it kind of looked like a cord, but not really. It's kind of hard to see and very energetic. But it did have some silver nature to it. It had some other colors to it, but the other colors like indigo and purple and stuff were really hard to see. It was so faint, but I can see it. And so as I feel like I'm being pulled back to my body to end the out-of-body experience, I could feel how the back of my head was there was pressure, and I was being pulled back. Okay? I'm not sure what else I saw with that silver cord in the mirror reflection of the window reflections. I don't really remember, but I think that was about it. And then, when you reintegrate back into your body, it's you're completely aware of the whole process, step by step. If you're 100% consciously aware in an out-of-body experience or a near-death experience, and you go back to your physical body with full integration, that's exactly what it feels like. It's exactly what it feels like, and that's exactly what happens. And so I'm going to leave this video at 13 minutes. I wanted to go about 10 minutes or so, went a little over. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed some of my experiences and just observations and in trying to explain, right, some of this stuff from my perspective. I'm sending positive energy to all of you. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, hit the like button. Peace.